Welcome to This Day in His Story, created by American Heritage Worldwide, a reminder that every day holds something new to learn. Did you know that John Colter was a legendary mountain man who once rode west with the Lewis and Clark expedition? Learn how Colter earned $5 a month to help explore newly acquired lands from the Louisiana Purchase, mapped rivers, and survived after being pursued by Blackfeet warriors and hiding beneath cold river water before running through the wilderness to safety. Discover that people questioned whether his stories were true, but years later, a stone was found in Idaho, carved with the words, John Colter, 1808, giving evidence that he had explored farther into the unknown than many believed.
I want you to imagine, just for a second, standing at the very edge of a vast, completely uncharted wilderness.
Oh, yeah, a terrifying thought, honestly.
Right. I mean, you have nothing but the clothes on your back, maybe a few basic supplies, and you're handed this seemingly impossible task to just walk into the absolute unknown and map it.
And, there are no guidebooks. There's no GPS, obviously.
Exactly. No rescue teams waiting on standby if things go wrong. It's just you, the horizon, and, well, whatever lies beyond it.
It's a completely wild proposition, but, it's exactly what certain individuals throughout history actively chose to do.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, they stepped across that threshold into the void, and they were driven by something almost primal, I think. This need to see what actually exists in those blank spaces on the map.
And that drive is exactly what we're exploring in today's deep dive. We're looking into the life of the 19th century mountain man, John Colter.
He's such a fascinating figure.
Oh, absolutely. But I want to be clear right up front, this isn't just like a history lesson about a guy wandering around in a coonskin cap.
Right. It's a lot deeper than that.
Yeah, we are going to examine the spirit of the seeker. Because Colter's physical journey into the untamed wild perfectly mirrors the very intense journey that you face today.
Well, the landscape has changed, obviously, but that fundamental challenge of navigation hasn't at all.
No, not one bit.
The cognitive and spiritual wilderness we navigate now requires the exact same survival tools that a physical wilderness demanded, 2 centuries ago.
Think about it. Stepping into the untamed American West of 1806 is remarkably similar to simply opening a web browser today.
That is a really great way to put it.
Right. Both are these massive, wild, completely uncurated landscapes. I mean, instead of unmapped rivers and hidden ravines, our modern wilderness is filled with this endless stream of differing views and contradictory opinions.
And hidden algorithms trying to pull you in.
Exactly. And just like those early explorers, you have to figure out how to survive in it, how to navigate it, and ultimately how to find absolute truth within it.
And survival in any wilderness requires a very specific mindset. You have to be an active seeker rather than just a passive wanderer.
Which John Colter definitely was.
The ultimate active seeker, really. And
Yeah.
we actually have the exact moment he officially enters the historical record as a guide.
Oh, I love this part.
Yeah, it was June 24th, 1806.
The details of that day are captured in the Expeditionary Journal of Lewis and Clark. They're exploring that massive area west of the Mississippi, charting the Louisiana Purchase.
Right. Huge territory.
Huge. So on that Tuesday morning, they write down that they are setting out with their 3 guides. And one of them is Colter. But the way they introduce him is just, it's so understated, it's almost funny.
It really is. The journal just casually notes that Colter joined them that morning, having just killed a bear.
Having just killed a bear. And then Lewis and Clark write that, based on Colter's description of the bear's poverty.
Meaning it was, skinny and lacking fat.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So because of that, and the sheer distance to the carcass, they didn't even think it was proper to send after the meat.
They didn't even bother.
I know. The sheer routine nature of that interaction tells you everything about the environment they were in.
Totally. I mean, killing a bear before breakfast would be a monumental, life-altering event for anyone else.
Oh, I'd talk about it for the rest of my life.
Same. But for Colter, it's just a Tuesday morning commute.
Yeah.
It establishes this baseline level of danger that they accepted as entirely normal.
And the economics of his presence out there add a whole other layer to this. He was enlisted as a private guide for Lewis and Clark.
Right, with a very specific mission.
Yeah, to map completely unknown rivers and make contact with Native American tribes in this vast, newly acquired territory where every single element is actively trying to kill you.
And do you remember his compensation for this?
Oh, yeah. $5 a month.
$5 a month. To step completely off the edge of the known world?
It is the 19th century equivalent of volunteering for a one-way mission to Mars for minimum wage.
You definitely aren't doing that for the financial windfall.
No, definitely not. Which proves the driving force was never the money. It was that spirit of the seeker.
The compulsion to understand the terrain, yeah.
But as anyone who ventures deep enough into the unknown eventually discovers, the wilderness always pushes back.
And for Colter, that pushback was sudden, and it was nearly fatal.
Yeah. I mean, mapping rivers for $5 is one thing, but what happens when the environment actively turns on you?
Well, Colter had actually managed to learn some of the basics of the Blackfeet Native American language, right?
Yeah, he had. He even managed to open a trading system with the tribe, attempting to bridge this massive cultural divide.
Which really demonstrates he wasn't just some brute force explorer. He had the intelligence and the adaptability to try and establish a connection in a highly volatile place.
He was trying to bring order to the chaos, but despite those efforts, that order completely collapsed.
It did.
Colter found himself totally surrounded and attacked by hundreds of Blackfeet Indians. Just imagine the sheer panic of that scenario.
Utterly alone.
Yes. Hundreds of miles from anything resembling your own civilization, surrounded by an overwhelming force.
And when the systems you've built fail, like his fragile trading relationship, what do you fall back on?
Right. The map won't save you then.
Exactly. For Colter, he fell back on pure, unadulterated instinct and immense physical fortitude.
It's incredible. To survive the attack, Colter literally dove underneath the freezing river water.
Just threw himself in.
Yeah, and he swam submerged, holding his breath, pushing his body to the absolute physiological limit, until he managed to surface near a pile of logs in a beaver dam.
You really have to notice the tactical awareness in that moment. He didn't just catch his breath on the riverbank and keep running blindly.
No, he recognized the advantage of the terrain.
Right. He hid himself within the tangled structure of that beaver dam, and he remained submerged in that freezing water for hours, just waiting for the safety of darkness.
I try to picture the mental control it requires. You are submerged in freezing mountain water for hours.
Suppressing the instinct to shiver.
To shiver, to gasp, to panic. You are just holding on. And then, when night finally falls, he pulls himself out and starts running toward the nearest outpost of civilization.
Pushing his body through severe exposure and exhaustion.
It's unbelievable.
There's actually a quote from a friend of his later on describing him as having an open, ingenious, and pleasing countenance of the Daniel Boone stamp.
Okay, the Daniel Boone stamp. I like that.
Yeah, but the crucial part of that quote is the observation that nature had literally formed him for a hardy endurance of fatigue, privation, and perils.
Nature formed him for hardy endurance. He was literally built for the wilderness. But surviving something like that, it fundamentally changes a person.
Oh, it has to, even for a man built for it. The trauma of that near-death experience was profound.
He was never the same after that encounter at the beaver dam, was he?
No, the ultimate seeker had finally found the edge of his endurance.
Because before this, he had spent years willingly exploring the Grand Tetons, navigating around the Yellowstone River, charting unbelievable territory.
Just thriving in it.
But after that escape, after the freezing water and the sheer terror of the attack, he made a vow. He decided he would never travel through the mountains again.
It is a really sobering reminder that the wilderness exacts a toll. You know, you can map it, you can survive it, but it leaves a mark on you.
And Colter honored his vow. He stepped away from the frontier. He finally settled down, married, and tried to live a normal life.
Which leads to the tragic irony of his story.
Yeah. This man survives hundreds of attackers. He survives freezing rivers, grizzly bears, starvation, and the absolute harshest conditions the untamed wilderness can throw at a human being.
All of it.
And then, just 3 years after settling down into the safety of civilization, he dies from an illness.
The perils he could see and fight didn't end him. It was a microscopic, unseen danger in the comfort of his own home. It's a striking conclusion.
It really is. But his death wasn't the end of his presence in the world. His life very quickly shifted from history into legend.
The tall tales started spreading.
Right. And that legend was physically cemented decades later, sometime between 1931 and 1933. A family was near Tetonia, Idaho, and they found a small piece of stone.
And on that stone, carved clearly into the surface, were the words, John Colter, 1808.
Wow.
Yeah. It is the exact moment the physical evidence catches up to the tall tales.
Absolute proof. It proved definitively that Colter had ventured deep into that uncharted territory exactly as the stories claimed.
And today, the Colter stone actually sits on display in a museum in Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park.
Which is amazing. It acts as a physical anchor for a life that honestly seems almost too wild to be true. You can look at that stone and know with certainty that he was there. He lived it.
Yeah. And if we pivot from Colter's physical wilderness to our own reality, we recognize that the environment has shifted dramatically.
Oh, for sure.
The physical map of the globe is, for the most part, entirely filled in. We don't have blank spots left that say, "Here be dragons."
Satellite imagery has essentially ruined the surprise of the physical landscape. But that doesn't mean the wilderness is gone. It has just changed form, right?
Precisely. Our modern uncharted territory is an overwhelming cognitive and spiritual landscape.
It really is.
It's an environment densely packed with differing views, contradictory opinions, and deeply held beliefs. We have unprecedented access to information.
Which is terrifying in its own way. I mean, when I open my phone, I feel like I'm staring at an information wilderness that is just as vast and dangerous as the 1806 frontier.
Oh, absolutely.
You can get lost so easily. You can get overwhelmed by the sheer volume of noise.
That brings us to our new mission. Just as John Colter's responsibility was to discern the actual path of a river from a dead-end canyon, your responsibility today is to discern what is true from what is false.
Right.
We have the exact same opportunity to be seekers, but we are exploring an intellectual wilderness.
I understand the analogy, but physically hiding in a beaver dam is a very clear, actionable thing.
Sure.
I have no idea how to translate that into surviving a social media algorithm or a barrage of conflicting news reports.
That's the challenge.
Like, what is the cognitive equivalent of that survival instinct?
Right.
How do we actually map this space and find absolute truth?
Well, the source material provides a highly specific, effective framework for doing exactly this. It outlines that we can come to a humble yet firm conviction of the truth of all things through 3 necessary steps.
Okay, what are they?
First, by using our best thinking. Second, by choosing to act with real intent. And third, by seeking direct revelation from God.
Wow, okay. I saw how that mirrors the physical tools of an explorer. Step 1, using our best thinking acts as your map.
Exactly.
Use your intellect, your logic, your reasoning to survey the landscape. But best thinking sounds a bit obvious.
It can sound that way, yeah.
Like, how does that actually work in practice when everyone scrolling online assumes they are already using their best thinking? What's the actual mechanism there?
It requires an active, rigorous curation of information. Best thinking isn't just reacting to a headline or absorbing whatever the algorithm feeds you.
Right, it's not passive.
No, it means interrogating the source, understanding the logic behind an argument, and acknowledging where your own knowledge ends. It's the hard intellectual labor of charting the terrain rather than just wandering through it.
So it's the difference between looking at a map and actually drawing it. You have to verify the landmarks yourself.
Exactly. Intellect is a crucial starting point, but the framework explicitly shows that intellect alone is insufficient.
Really?
Yeah. If you only use your best thinking, you remain an observer standing safely on the edge of the wilderness. Which brings us to the second step. Choosing to act with real intent.
Oh, I see. So this would be the physical endurance part of the survival kit, like Colter swimming through the freezing water.
Spot on.
But again, what is cognitive endurance? How do you apply real intent to information?
Acting with real intent means you take the truth you're uncovering and you actually apply it to your behavior. You test it out. If you learn a principle that you determine to be true through your best thinking, but you refuse to change your life to align with it, you aren't a seeker. You are merely a tourist. Intent is the bridge between abstract knowledge and lived reality.
Well, that makes so much sense. If I read a complex article about, say, the negative impacts of endless scrolling, and I agree with the logics.
Your best thinking tells you it's true.
Right, my best thinking tells me it's true, but I keep scrolling for another 3 hours anyway. I haven't acted with real intent. The truth didn't actually penetrate.
Precisely. You read the map, but you refused to walk the path. Real intent makes you the actual explorer.
I love that.
But even with the sharpest intellect and the strongest intent to act, you can still lose your true north in a dense enough forest. You can be sincerely acting on a flawed map.
Which leads to the third element, seeking direct revelation from God. If best thinking is the map and real intent is the endurance, then direct revelation is the ultimate compass. But in a modern, noisy environment, how do you distinguish direct revelation from your own cognitive bias? Like, if 2 people use their best thinking, act with intent, but claim to receive conflicting revelations. How does this compass actually guide you to absolute truth without just confirming what you already wanted to believe?
That is the crucial friction point of navigating the cognitive wilderness. And it's exactly why these three elements must work in tandem.
Okay, how so?
If you skip the rigorous best thinking and the commitment of real intent and just wait for a feeling, you are highly susceptible to confirmation bias. You're just seeking validation.
So the revelation isn't a shortcut to avoid doing the hard intellectual work.
Not at all. Revelation acts as the steadying force when human logic reaches its absolute limit. In an information landscape filled with perfect counterfeits and deeply convincing falsehoods, human intellect will eventually fail you.
That's true.
It is a necessary tool, but a finite one. Revelation from God provides the absolute, unchanging, true north that guides you when the map becomes contradictory.
It anchors the intellect.
Yes. Purely intellectual seeking isn't enough to survive the information wilderness without the action of real intent. And both of those efforts require the guiding light of divine revelation to ensure you are actually moving toward absolute truth, rather than just wandering in circles of your own logic.
Wow.
When you combine all three, rigorous thinking, intentional action, and direct revelation, you achieve that humble yet firm conviction of the truth.
That reframes the entire task. It means finding truth isn't just about reading the right books. It's a holistic, exhausting process.
It really is.
So what does this mean for you listening right now? We've analyzed a man who walked into the physical unknown and mapped it. We've outlined the specific framework available to you to map the modern wilderness of endless information.
But the journey of a seeker is inherently personal. No one else can draw the map for you.
Exactly. It leaves us with the most critical questions. Questions that demand an active response from anyone willing to step off the edge of the known map.
Yeah, it's really up to the individual.
I want to pose the questions from the source material directly to you. Where do you go to seek the truth? When the noise of the modern world gets deafening, when differing opinions and beliefs are swarming around you, where is your quiet place to use your best thinking, to plan your intentional actions, and to seek direct revelation?
Furthermore, what difference does truth make in your life? Once you find it, does it change the way you navigate the world?
Does it give you the hardiness to endure the modern perils we all face?
Those questions define a true seeker.
They really do. And I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. Building on everything we've explored today, think back to the permanence of the Colter stone.
Such a powerful artifact.
John Colter left behind a physical, undeniable carving in the rock in 1808. That stone was his permanent proof. It was his way of saying, I stepped into the absolute unknown, I faced the wilderness, and I survived. I found something real.
It is a testament that outlasted him by centuries, proving his journey wasn't just a fleeting story.
We live in a digital age, an age of fleeting information, of infinite scrolling, where nothing seems to last longer than a few seconds.
It's all so temporary.
Exactly. When you finally do the hard, grueling work of the modern seeker, when you rigorously apply your best thinking, when you change your life to act with real intent, when you seek direct revelation and you finally find absolute truths in this overwhelming wilderness, what kind of permanent stone are you carving? What enduring proof are you leaving behind to show yourself and future generations that you didn't just wander passively through the noise, but that you ventured deep into the unknown and found something unshakably real?
Thank you for joining us for this day in his story. May the lessons of yesterday inspire you to see God's hand today and to play your part in his story now. For more faith-based learning, visit ahsworldwide.org, the homeschool for faith and family.